Alright, so now we are done creating all our required Lambda functions. So let's go ahead now and try creating the step function. So here we're gonna click on Get Started. Alright, so we'll name our step function as basic step function. We'll use an existing IAM role which I've already created. And if we scroll down, this is the place where we'll actually code the step function using the Amazon State language. So let's go ahead and do it. So I'm going to paste a code which I've already written here, and I'll explain how that code works. Okay. So it's pretty simple. So the start at construct tells us where the step function is going to start. So here we are telling the step function that we are going to start the step function from a plus b. Now what is a plus b? A plus b is a state which is of type task, and then it will have a resource, Amazon resource name. And then once we execute a plus b state, what is the next step which we need to perform? The step which we need to perform is specified using the next construct, and here you just specify the name of the next task which you need to perform. So in this example, once we have added a and b, we would need to check the sum of a plus b and see if that sum is greater than 10 or not. So that's our next state. So here is the description of the next state. The next state is a decision or a choice state, wherein we are checking the sum. If the sum is greater than or equal to 10, then we will just go ahead and print the results. As if the sum is less than 10, we're gonna go to the increment. We're gonna go and increment a and b by 1. So if the sum is already greater than or equal to 10, then we are gonna go to the print results state right here. What this state does is it actually just go ahead and print out the sum for us, and then it'll go to the end. So it'll end the workflow after printing the results for us. However, if our sum is less than 10, then we will go to the increment AB state right here. This is, if you look at the description of this state, it is a parallel state. That means there will be multiple tasks which will be executed in parallel under this state. What are those branches or the task branches? So the branches are so there will be two branches. One would be used to increment A by 1, and the other branch would be used to increment B by 1. And then once those two branches are executed successfully, it will go to the next step, which is the format input block. So this format input block is another lambda which would actually format the inputs in such a way so that they can be fed back into the initial block, which will add the two numbers and generate a new sum. So that's the task which this format input task would perform. And then after this task is done, the next step would be to wait 10 seconds. And this is just a delay task which would keep waiting for 10 seconds, and after these 10 seconds are over, it will call this task again, which is a plus b. And what is a plus b? A plus b again starts at a plus b is again the same task which would add these two numbers back up again. Alright, so I went ahead and corrected the resource information for all these lambdas. These ARNs were a little bit incorrect, so I have made sure that these ARNs are pointing to the correct resources. All right. So now let's let's come to the right hand side of the pane, and there's this little refresh button here. So let's go ahead and click it and see what happens. So when I click this refresh button here, it will actually generate a graphical view of the workflow, which we have written in kind of a code language here on the left hand side. So now you can see the workflow in a more graphical and a user friendly way, right? So what we're doing here is we are starting and then we are adding a plus b, and then we are checking the sum of a plus b. If the sum is greater than 10, then we're just going to print the results and end the workflow right there. If the sum is lesser than 10, then we will go ahead and increment a by 1 and increment b by 1, and then we're just going to do a little bit formatting of the inputs. We'll wait for 10 more seconds, and then we'll pass those formatted inputs back to the same task a plus b, which would then again calculate a new value of the sum for us. And then this process will keep going until the sum of a plus b exceeds 10. Once it exceeds 10, we'll print the results and end this workflow. So let's go ahead and create this state machine or the workflow. Okay, so it says state machine successfully created. If you go back to the step functions, you should be able to see this state machine. So let's click on AWS Step Functions and see right here we have our new state machine created. Okay, so I've just made a little bit correction here. One of the ARNs was not correct, so I just updated it to point to the correct resource here. And then let's go ahead and start executing our step function. So for that, let's go to the basic step function and say start execution. So in order to start a step function, we need to provide some inputs to it. So if you remember, our workflow requires two input numbers a and b with some initial values. So let's go ahead and provide those inputs. So here we are providing two numbers a and b with their initial values as 1 and 1. And let's click on start execution to start running the step function. Now if you see here that the function has started executing, and what it's going through right now is it is adding those two numbers, checking their sum. If the sum is less than 10, it is going to increment a and b by 1 and 1. It's going to reformat the inputs, wait for another 10 seconds and do the addition again until the sum exceeds 10. And now we can see that the workflow is complete because it has gone through a number of iterations wherein it has incremented the values of a and b up to such a point that their sum would exceed or be equal to 10, right? So if you want to see the current values of a and b, let's click on the a plus b box and then click on input. So it will tell us the values of a and b are now 5 and 5. A plus b box, you can see what inputs were provided to this box and what were the outputs out of this box. So let's click on this box. The inputs to this box were the numbers a, the value of the current value of the numbers a and b, which were 5 and 5, and then the sum of these two numbers, which is 10. So this is a choice box, so it will check for the condition if the number is greater than or equal to 10 or not. If yes, then it will go ahead and print the result. So you can click on each and every box, and each and every box will have a respective input and output section, and you can click on that particular section to see what were the inputs to that block and what were the outputs out of that block. So that is how the various states in the step functions communicate with each other through these input and output parameters. So the output of one block would be the input to the next block, and so on. That's how the various tasks in the step function communicate with each other. Also, if you want to check out the source code for this tutorial, you can go to this location on GitHub, and you can get the source code from there. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If yes, kindly hit the like button and subscribe to this channel. We will be posting more contents to this channel over time. Thanks.